Don't let your strongest muscle be in your goddamn them Twitter fingers, nigga. Boss that nigga, man. Get your shit together, man. I'm overrated. So overrated. Overrated. So overrated, nigga. Coming on this bitch real fresh, bulletproof, high shoot, bitch, you better wear your vest. She try to get something off her chest, but the drip on her head made a mess. I'm a real piece of profit on this one, but nighttime sheet, I'm a beast. I'm like, here, eat it up, baby, eat. Here, eat it up, baby, eat. I walk with my pole like a pimp in the state that I got up a ton. I walk around with a lot of blaze, I lit a rip on her, yeah. Tonight it's a ride, I got a show, live show, and the niggas still indie. Hey, UPK niggas winning, UPK niggas gifted. Hey, I had a little money, but I lost a little money for that punk ass job. Now I'm getting paid off passion, so it's only right that I stunt. All the nigga wanna hate, frustrates on the Facebook, little wasting time. I don't hate being around broke minds, I motivate their ass in their grind. And that's a real athlete, a real ass nigga, 2G short in the flesh. And I'ma eat my plate so good, I'ma let a little bit while the dish. And I'ma beat down your block so rich, top off, you'll feel every leg. I went to another bitch house, cause that bitch ain't clean up the kitchen. And I ain't saying no names, give a goddamn shit, let that motherfucker learn. I left my phone unlocked, woke up, bitch, had a damn chalkboard in front. Wanna know who it is, who the fuck is that bitch, I ain't telling no business. And I bought another motherfucking chopper, and that bitch came with some haters, but hey, I'm overrated, pass overrated. I'm overrated, pass overrated, nigga. I'm overrated, pass overrated. I'm overrated, pass overrated, nigga. I pass overrated, my money coming steady, I'ma rock up my good talk. Hey, the women looking good, got them white girls, I was trying to see who got good talk. South Carolina with them 5 thick women, they better know how to cook up. Hey, never say the bitch from scratch, that'll keep a nigga, yeah, on stop. I be in Atlanta with the hitters, zone 6 rocking with a nigga. Had a nigga walk up to a G, but couldn't get past my security. Yeah, I go out, that's my dog already, and the police too official. Niggas in the world traumatized, trying to buy a trip off a nigga. But when keep the shows coming, keep these hoes running hill for a change, he'll fly. But I gotta keep my fly swat on me, cause these nat bitches lying. I'm in North Carolina doing red bitch shit, I been got new ties. If you ain't round broke, boy, you tired. But me and my niggas, yeah, pass overrated, pass overrated. Overrated, pass overrated, nigga. Pass overrated, pass overrated, overrated, pass overrated, nigga. That's the pass overrated, man. Mixtape, EP, whatever you wanna call it. I'm beating y'all more. Y'all run this shit up, man. Do this shit for the Lord, man. Pass overrated, man. UPK South Carolina, man. Shout 2G. Come on, I see you, nigga. Come on.
All right. All right. Clap it up. Good to be back, man. All right, Shalom, Israel. This is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. And today's class is about that the Bible is about men of war. For so long, in the Christian church, they tell us that the Bible is just about soft men and, these soft, effeminate white men. And Christ is going to come down with a toga, with flip-flops on and long, stringy hair with blue eyes. And he just cares and loves everybody. And that the men in the Bible weren't about, killing for their nation in the name of the Lord. That just everybody got along. That, that's what they preach here in these Christian churches. But I'm here to let you know that you're sadly mistaken. The stuff that we learn in the Christian church is definitely a lie. And the only way you'll find the truth is here in the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana. And today we're going to break down that the Bible is, in fact, talking about men of war. Not only that, black and brown men of war. You see, that's more specific. It's not talking about, the Caucasian man or the Asian man or the Arab man or the Hawaiian man. It's not talking about them being men of war. It's talking about our journey, our culture, our heritage, and our nationality. And throughout that time, we went to war with other nations because Israel is a nation of warriors. It's no coincidence why we have troopers. You know, we have young men troopers. We have officers of 50, officers of 500, officers of 1,000, 5,000, captains of 10,000, and captain of 13s, and generals. Why? Because we are an army. And today's U.S. Army, where do they get all these names from? They get it from us. They get it from the Bible. And they go around and they plaster and say that they've done this and they've done that. And like they're such valiant and men of valor and men of honor and men of war, when our oppressors are cowards. When in all actuality, we are the real men of war. We are the ones that fight in all their wars inside this nation here in America. And everywhere else, we fight for them. It's about time we start fighting for our own, because our Bible consists of men that's just like you, that was really about that life. Now, if I could somebody give me Exodus 15:3? Because not only was, the men in the Bible men of war, the prophets, as well as Christ, but the Lord is a man of war. So when you got it, you can go ahead and read that.
Come out of one gun. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 15 and verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord is a man of war.
The who is a man of war?
The Lord is a man of war.
The Lord is a man of war. Keep reading.
The Lord is his name.
The Lord is his name. Now look, it's not saying that physically God is a man. But what it is saying is, we all know God is he's a power, right? He's above us all. He's the creator. We know that he didn't come in the likeness of men. Christ did. He came in the likeness of men, and we were all created as men. We're all men, but the Most High God is not a man. He is a power. But when it says that he is a man of war, if he were to be a man, he would be a man that was about his business, a man that is about war. What they're saying is the spirit of the Most High God is about warfare, because that's what all life is about. And if you think it's not, if you think it's crazy, as a black and brown man here in America, every day your life is about war. Every day you wake up, your life is warfare. Every day, if you're a young black man, all the way to the older black men, every day you wake up, you are a target out here. It's warfare. Every day you go to that slave and you're working for that oppressor. It's warfare. Because any day he could fire you. Any day, you can go walk outside and get wrongfully accused and get arrested. Any day you go inside the grocery store, somebody can come and attack you just because you're a black man. Now, this has been going on for decades, centuries, millenniums. Since the beginning of time, ever since we disobeyed the Most High God, life for black and brown people has been warfare. So the Lord is telling you, hey, all that stuff that they tell you in a Christian church that I love everybody, cut that out. Because I just said here in the book of Exodus, the 15th chapter and the 3rd verse, that I am a man of war. Now, he's not saying that he is a man. Now, the Christian will say, well, God is a man. God walking the earth. No, that's not what's happening. Christ is the only one that was his only begotten son that came in likeness of us to show us that, hey, even though I came here and it was all this sin around, I didn't commit sin, showing that you could fight off sin. Why? Because fighting sin is another form of warfare. It's another tactic of fighting war, because we know that our weapons are not carnal, they're spiritual. And that's why a lot of brothers didn't understand Christ. They thought that he had to fight with guns and fight with fists. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm quite sure that if Christ needed to put his hands on somebody, he would have. Just like us brothers here. Now, we ain't no cowards. But Christ didn't have to do that, because he was just cutting people left and right just by his spirit, the spirit of Christ. And as well as the brothers that followed him, they understood that this is a different war that we're fighting. This is not a physical war just yet. So you got to understand that. This war that we fighting here in America or anywhere else we go across this world is not a carnal fight. We don't need guns. We don't need to protest. We don't need to fight tooth and nail with our oppressors with physical violence, because that's not going to beat them. What is beating them is a spiritual war. It's many different forms of war. And as you can see here in the ISUPK under commanding General Yohana since 1969, we have been beating down our oppressors in this spiritual war. They can't handle it. That's why they going out. That's why when we went down to the pass over to North Carolina, they talking about they about to draw protests. They about to shut us down, and we don't need y'all here. Y'all terrorists. It's a spiritual war, and they simply cannot battle with it because they are not God's chosen people. They're not spiritually equipped. They don't have the spirit that's built enough for it. They have not been tried through the fire. They think that it's just pure carnal. That's what our oppressors think. But as for the nation of Israel, we have to understand that this battle right here, this war is spiritual. It is not carnal whatsoever. And you have to train your mind to understand that. That's why you got to raise your kids up a certain way. They don't need to be out in the streets gang banging and going tooth and nail with the cops. That's not help us. You got something to say?
Yeah, Bible shop I could, sir. Hey, what the priest is saying is super heavy. Like Exodus 15:3, right? The Lord is a man of war, right? Each and every last one of us has a father figure. The Most High is our Father and gives a damn about his children, right? And when I say the children, I'm not talking about the world. I'm talking about the Egyptians. I'm talking about the children of Israel, which he had Moses, right, bring the Israelites out of Egypt. That's what a father does. A father looks after his kinfolk, his kinsmen, his sons, his brethren, his daughters, right? And this is what the Most High is expounding on of why he's so much a man of war. You know what I mean? Like the priest was breaking down too. We got generals, captains, officers that's raising up troopers and young men to be anointed and ordained to teach this truth so we can fight this fight like our Father did, man. Like our Father is telling us to do still. The will of God. That's what our fight is about. Like you said, man, this is a spiritual fight, not a carnal fight. And we have to step up to the plate and stop being cowards and start being warlike warriors like our ancestors kept this culture and showed us how to do, man. Instead of putting on these religious beliefs that make us soft, feminine, and weak and turn away our hearts from serving our Lord. So like,
Most High Christ, man. And just exactly what you just said just brought me to this scripture. Give me 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and give me verse 4. Because you hit it right up on the nail. You just expounded on it even more. I'm going to bring the scripture out so you know that I'm not just talking for my good health. That this is actually in the scriptures. We don't add to or take away. We read it straight from the book. When you got it, you can go ahead and read.
Con out of one con. This is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
They are not what?
Are not carnal.
They are not worldly. Keep going.
But mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds.
Right. Now I'm going to put this in layman terms if you didn't understand that. But mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. If I'm understand this, if you trusting in God, you got faith in God, that's not a carnal thing. That's a spiritual thing. That's a spiritual thing. So through God, we understand that this is a spiritual war. I'm going to go back to Exodus 15 and 3. I'm going to just touch on it. You ain't got to pull it. But the reason why God is saying that he is a man of war is because, I mean, what happened in the days of Noah? Does God love everybody? Or does God been killing people since the beginning of time? Last time I checked in the days of Noah, people were killed for interracial marriage. And the only people that was left on this earth was Noah and his family. But I thought God loved everybody. Yeah, he do love you if you show you love him. And by showing that you love him, if you keep the law, statutes, and commandments. But if you don't, he got to cut ties with you. What's the point of showing you love and you disrespecting the entire thing that I have put in your life to set you up to live a graceful and everlasting life? And you disrespect it every day. Every time you go in a Christian church, you worship in Caesar Borgia. Every time you go out to the club, you snorting lines of coke and you smoking weed and you having sex with all these whores. And you over here, you having sex with white women and you over here having all these other nations, your friends, and all in your house, and you eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, and you say you love God. The same people did the same thing in the days of Noah that were in interracial marriages. I love God. I love God. And what happened? God killed them. Because in the scripture says that if you love me, you would keep my commandments. And everything that I just listed is against the commandments. What happened in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah? Sodom and Gomorrah was filled with homosexuality and all types of filth. What happened? It got destroyed. Anybody else that went back to try to go and save that place, you got destroyed with it. So last time I checked, you die if you do not follow the law, statutes, and commandments. So this whole ideology and this whole idea of that God loves everybody is a myth. He loves you if you show that you love him. Other than that, you're gonna see the war side of him. Last time I checked, I just seen over there in Asia that they had some heathens die on Halloween, and it's their pagan holiday. They celebrate this type stuff. And there was a whole bunch of Asian people just dead in the street. Why? Because that is a pagan holiday and not of God. And they're heathens already in itself, but just because they're heathens don't mean they're not going to get the judgment. The Lord is showing you what happens to every other nation, and that can happen to you if you don't follow his law, statutes, and commandments. If you don't gird up your loins and become a man of war. Stop being so carnal. Stop worrying about the cars. I know they're nice. Stop worried about the women. Stop worried about the jewelry. Stop worried about the earrings and the money. That's not going to save you in the day of the Lord. It's not going to save you. What's going to save you is that you understand that you're an Israelite and you're from one of these 12 tribes that's depicted in this Bible, and that you are a warrior that God called for us to be. That's what you got to realize. It's no more, you got to understand, like, for 400 plus years, they've been pushing around the black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. Are you tired of getting pushed around? Aren't you tired of them running you over? Aren't you tired of them talking to you any type of way? Don't you want to, like, just be over them? Don't you want some type of authority? Don't you want to just defeat them once for all? Don't you want to just take that Caucasian bastard down, his prideful behind? He's so prideful here in America. He has no respect for the black man, Hispanic man, or Native Indian man. And don't you want to be set apart from him and show him that you're better than him? Don't you want that? If you do want that, you got to gird your loins up and understand that you're a man of war. And war ain't always got to be with fighting hands and using guns. It's spiritual. And that's just by using your mental, being in the spirit of Christ, following Christ. And once you do that, and you obtain that spirit of Christ, you can defeat any demon that's out here on the street, because you are separate from them and you live a totally different lifestyle than what they've been expecting you to live. And that's going to surprise them. They're going to say, well, what a wise and understanding nation. For 400 plus years, we have talked bad about these people, and they're really God's chosen people. We've talked bad about these people, but there's no fault in them. They're amazing citizens here in America, and they're amazing people of God. They must be of God. And we have to start showing them that. And you got to want that for yourself. You got to want that for your kids. It's not no playtime right now. What you are in right now is in the brink of World War III. It's a reason. You see all them brothers over there with, with the covers on from Hebrew Academy, and what's their slogan? We are men of war. That's depicted in the Bible. Just like Officer Damakia said, we all have a father. And who is the father? Yahweh, the Most High God. And if he a man of war, I'm a man of war. 9 times out of 10, whatever the father is doing, the son is going to follow. If the father is a gangbanger, the son's more than likely going to follow his ways of his father, become a gangbanger. LeBron James is a professional basketball player. Am I not lying? And what are his sons? They're playing basketball. You're following your father. So you got to understand that if our father said that he's a man of war, we are men of war. Because we are the prophets that are depicted in this Bible. You got to understand that, man. That's what you really got to understand. If I could you give me 1 Samuel 17:8? Because we're going to get into a little bit of talking about David. Because David was a man of war too. See, they don't tell you the full story about what David and why he even went up against Goliath. They don't tell you that. They just said David versus Goliath. And David had the slingshot and hit him with the rock and killed him. That's it. But they don't give you the context of the backstory to the entire thing that led up to it. Why did he even draw near them? Why did he even talk to the Philistines? Why did he even go into battle to take down Goliath, the most mightiest man that they had in the Philistine army? Why did David do it? Give me 1 Samuel 17:8.
Khan Adawan Khan. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 17 and verse 8. And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel and said unto them, why are you come out to set your battle in array? Am not I a Philistine, and ye servants to Saul? Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me.
Right, now this is Goliath, right? He said, why are ye to come out and set a battle in array, meaning set a battle in a range, like a range of battle, right? Am I not a Philistine? Now this is him speaking about himself in third person, saying, am I not a Philistine? And are you not the servants of Saul? He's asking them a question. And then he says, choose you a man for you and let him come down to me. Meaning, you better choose one of your best men in your army and he come down here to me to come fight me. Because everybody knew around this time that Goliath was a very big man and a very intimidating man. It just, you gotta understand this. Goliath wasn't just no big man and he just had on regular clothes. Like he had regular clothes, but he also had on armor to protect himself. And he was like, I believe he was a 9-foot man. You're talking about a 9-foot man that's been wreaking havoc across cities and just been overthrowing places. And nobody stepped to him. Nobody stepped to him until this happened. Keep reading.
Khan Adawan Khan, verse 9. If he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then will we be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall ye be our servants and serve us.
So this is him saying, like, look, if you pick your best man and he come and go to war with me, go toe to toe with me, and he kill me, my men gonna become servants of you because you have defeated me and I'm the top guy. And if you take me out, they gonna come and serve you. But if I kill him, your men gonna come and serve us. That's what this Philistine is saying to the Israelite army. Now, there's no coincidence why I'm saying army, because in the scriptures it say army. Why do we say that the Israel is a nation of war? We're warriors. Why you say, well, good job, warrior? Why you think we have captains and generals and officers? This is a nation of warriors. We are men of war. Now, if I could, give me drop down at verse 23. We're gonna get more
verse 1.
Go ahead. You too, Rob. You go ahead.
Verse 23. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name.
Right. Stop right there.
Army.
Stop right there. Right. So this is I was talking before then. It was giving like a little backstory leading up until this point. But I fast forwarded to verse 23, and it's saying, well, who is this talking? Who is this talking? It says a champion. I just said briefly that was their top guy. Their top guy was Goliath because he was the biggest one in the Philistine army. He was a 9-foot man that carried a spear, and the tip of the spear weighed at least about 25, 30 pounds. And he had a shield and he had armor, and it was extremely thick and heavy because he was a big man to protect himself. And imagine a 9-foot man coming at you with hella armor on and a giant spear. And you ain't nothing but like 5'8", maybe 6 foot on a good day. What are you going to do? You're going to be struck with fear. An ordinary man would. Let's be real. You would be, until you realize that I have the Most High God on my side. But see, this is not what this Israelite army was thinking at this time. They've been hearing these stories of how Goliath been doing people and how big he was. And they was a little nervous, but I don't want to spoil it. We're going to get into it. So I'm going to let the scriptures speak. Keep reading from 23.
Khan Adawan Khan. Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines.
Of the Philistine.
According to the same words. David heard them.
And David heard him. Now, the reason, I don't even think I can spoil it. I don't even want to spoil it. I'm going to just let the scriptures go. Go ahead, give me verse 24.
Verse 24. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were sore afraid.
Stop right there. The men of Israel, right? We talking about the men of war. They were scared when they saw Goliath. When they saw how big God doggone Goliath was, they seen all that armor. Oh hell no. Hey, you got it, bro. You got it. Like they damn near turned Christian. They forgot all the faith that they had in the Most High and abandoned the Most High. They said the Most High not with me. I'm not fighting this big dude. Ain't no damn way. It's just no way. We're not gonna get it done. And what they said that they fled. That means that they ran away. They ran away and were afraid. They were afraid because they didn't have the faith of the Most High in them. They said, "There's no way God gonna allow us to defeat this dude. There's no way. There's no way." They were doubting God. They fled and were afraid of him. Why are you afraid now? You've been fighting all this time. You see this way. He should be nothing if you got the Most High on your side. All these battles you've been into. Give me verse 25.
Verse 25. And the men of Israel said, "Have ye seen this man that has come up?"
Stop right there. Now this, like if you read the Bible in a black way, they're like, did you see that nigga? That's basically what they're saying. They're like, bro, did you see that nigga that just came up here? Nigga, that's Goliath. That's what they saying right here. They're like, oh hell, nigga, I know you seen him. That boy built like LeBron James. That boy built like Shaquille O'Neal. You must ain't seen him. That's what they saying. They're like, have you seen this man that has come up? They're like, have you seen that big old dude? You must ain't seen him. You must have heard about him, but you ain't seen him in the flesh. Keep reading.
Verse 25. Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel.
Right. So if you kill this man, he will enrich you. I mean, he'll add riches into your life. Like he'll give you riches if you're able to overcome this man and kill him. Right. Now keep reading. Give me verse 26.
And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine?
Right. So he's asking. Right. Stop right there, Salakia. He's asking. Right. He's asking. Right. Asking the men that was standing by him. Right. Because he's over here with Saul and the army at this point, and he's like, what will happen if somebody killed this Philistine man, Goliath? Like, what's going to happen? What reward? What will happen to me if I was to do it? Well, he asking, like, this how you know it's black, because it's like, basically, he like, I need to see what type of reward I'm gonna get before I really commit to it. In a sense, that's kind of how he was talking, in a sense. But off rip, he probably was gonna do it anyways. But that's how black people talk. They were like, yeah, man, this is the top recruit in the nation. You know what I'm saying? He the best one-on-one dude. And then like you ask them, like, because you know it's like a 1v1 tournament and a surprise, you're like, how much the takeout is if somebody beat him? And you got a chance at $1 million. It's kind of like, that's kind of like what David is doing, asking these men that's standing around him. Like he's kind of getting a little bit of insight, but not too much in detail. But he's asking a little bit. That's how you know it's a black man's book. Keep reading.
Verse 26. What shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God?
Right. So who take away the reproach from Israel? Like meaning like the disapproval or disappointment away from Israel, right? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, right? That he should defy the armies of the living God. Like, whoa. So y'all seen this man. Y'all seen this man and y'all fled. Then y'all gonna ask me, have I seen the man? Let me tell you this. David didn't even see the man yet. And he like, who y'all running away from this uncircumcised heathen? Because back then, the Israelites knew you was an Israelite because they were circumcised. right? And this man was an uncircumcised. I already knew that he was a heathen. Like, scared of this heathen? And he gonna come up and speak against the men of war, the men that follow the Most High God. That's when he questioned. He's like, man, ain't no way y'all running away from this dude. Y'all tripping. Y'all not know who we have on our side. So at this point, he asked some questions. He confused. He like, there's no way you scared this man. David, like, I haven't seen him. I don't care how big he is. He's an uncircumcised heathen. And he shouldn't be talking about us nor the Most High God. And y'all just allowing that. And y'all running away and fleeing. Give me verse 27.
Khan one Khan. And the people answer him after this manner, saying, so shall it be done to the man that killeth him. Verse 28. And Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David. And he said,
give me go to verse 31. Go to verse 31.
And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him.
Verse 32.
Verse 32. And David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine.
Right. Now this is talking about David. Now this is what he's saying. Saul's like, look, you're gonna go and fight with this Philistine, like you're gonna go fight against him. That's what he's saying. Like, you're going to go do it. Give me verse 33.
Khan. And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art a youth, and he a man of war from his youth.
Right. So this is what David is saying. He's saying, I can't go against this Philistine man to go fight with him, for thou art but a youth. He's saying, because I'm young. And he's saying he since he's been young, he's been trained up to fight. I've never fought my life. And you expect me to go out there, right? Give me verse 34.
And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock.
Right? So verse pause 35. Right there. Pause right there. And David told Saul, right? Because he used to tend to his father's sheep, right? He was out there in the field watching the sheep, right? And he said, and there came a lion and a bear and took a lamb out of the flock. Meaning what? That a lion or a bear came and attacked the herd of the sheep and took one out. Like they killed it and they ate it for their meal, right? That's what happened, right? Now give me verse 35.
Khan. And I went out after him and smote him and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him and slew him.
Right. Stop right there. Right. So David is talking to Saul. Right. And he reminds you already said he didn't care because he didn't even know. He didn't even see who Goliath was. Right. He was ready to go out there. Now he telling Saul a story. He saying, look, man, a lion and a bear came and took a sheep out of my father's flock. And I chased that dang wild beast down. I grabbed him and I took him and I killed him with my bare hands. That's what David just told Saul. That's what he told him. He was out there killing lions and bears, man. And he ain't had no guns or none of that. I'm talking about like he had like handhelds. He had to get up close and he killed him for what that animal did to his father's flock. Now, no man in their right mind. Now, let's be real. If you go to the zoo and you looking at a lion or a bear in that cage, he perfectly fine behind that cage, ain't he? Am I right? Am I wrong? He fine behind that cage. Let that joker get loose. I don't care what you say. You can have big and bad you want. We know dang well you ain't got no gun in that zoo. And what you gonna do? You gonna run. Let's be real. Lions run up to at least 40 miles per hour. You gonna run. Hell, I'm gonna run. If I see a bear running at me or a lion running at me, I didn't have the spirit of David like that. Now I do. But I'm saying if I was in the world or any other world, brother, hey, you might run. To this day, I don't know. I might run though, because they run. That's a ferocious animal. I'm gonna have to get something to get up on. I ain't got nothing to jug them real quick. Hey, go ahead. You got something to say?
I want a lion run 50 miles an hour.
Oh my God! Good night.
Hope you ain't getting away.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Hey, good night. Look, he said it run 50 miles. Imagine that David went and hunted down lions and bears for what they was doing to his father's sheep. And he killed a lion. He killed a bear. And he telling Saul, the leader of this Israelite army, this. Give me verse 36.
Kind of one kind. Verse 36. Verse 36.
Mm-hmm.
Thy servant slew the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God.
Not right there. Now, this is talking about David once again. Thy servant, right? This is talking about David. Slew both a lion and a bear. I told you he did it. A lion and a bear came and took sheep from his father's flock. And David went and hunted them down. Why? Because he has the same spirit that the Lord has. He's a man of war. And you ain't finna be messing with my father's agriculture or his crops or his animals. And he went and hunted down a wild animal and killed them. Right? And then he said, as this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them. He telling Saul all this. David ain't even seen the man yet. He said, look, bro, I done killed a lion and a bear for messing with my father's sheep. This uncircumcised Philistine Goliath that y'all talking about, I'm going to treat him just as if he's a bear. This is light work. Basically, he's saying no sweat. No sweat. Where he at? I can't go into battle with this. I'm going to need something better. Where he at? That's what he's saying. Like, I'm ready to get it done. And I'm quite sure that Saul is hearing this at this time. He like, this nigga David crazy. Need I remind you, David was a kid. Like, he wasn't this is not the older David. This is the kid David, the youth David, the young David saying this, like killing lions and bears as a kid. Kids nowadays ain't out here killing no lions and bears. Let's be real. Now, maybe in Africa, you might get a couple, you might get click and all the whatever their names be, and he might kill one, maybe. But we talking about David was way more hardcore than them because he went right up on him and killed him. Right? And it says, he said, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he has defied the armies of the living God. Meaning what? He came up against us. Like he the one speaking bad. Y'all the ones fleeing. I'm here to tell you the same way I did that lion and that bear, Goliath gonna get the same work. No sweat. He gonna be just like a rock in the street, just kick it. It's nothing. Just like breathing, just like blinking, just stuff that you do just unconsciously, not even knowing. That's what David is telling Saul. He's like, hey, look, man, I'm ready to get down. Give me verse 37.
Kind of one kind. David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And David said unto and Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee.
Right. Now read it from the top, and I'm gonna break it down.
Kind of one kind. Verse 37. David said, moreover,
right,
the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear.
Pause right there. Salaki. David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear. He's saying, even when I went down to even chase them down for what they did to my father's flock to go and kill them, the Lord was with me. And he delivered me out of that lion's paw and that bear's paw. He didn't let them wild beasts kill me. David overcame them beasts, right? And this is what he's telling Saul, right? And then it says, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. If the Lord was with me with beasts of the field. We talking about beasts of the field are unpredictable. They don't speak English. They have their own little language, whether whatever species they might be. Bears speak bear, lions speak lion, cheetahs and tigers, they all have different languages, right? In animal world. They don't speak English. And I went there against unpredictable animals that really could have killed me. But the Lord didn't allow that. So David is telling Saul, he's like, look, and the Lord gonna deliver me out of this hands of this Philistine right here, aka Goliath. He's not gonna let Goliath overcome me because I'm one of y'all. He's not gonna let Goliath overcome the brethren when we got the Lord on our side. Right? Now read from when it says he will deliver me out of the hand of the Philistine.
He will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee.
Pause right there. Do we not say that? Do we not? Dude, the Bible is about black and brown people. Do we not say that in the UPK? Lord be with you, Adawan. Lord be with you, Akim. Lord be with you, sir. Saul said that to David. He said, Lord be with you. The same stuff we saying in UPK. Hey, Lord be with you. Lord be with you. And when we say that, we mean that in a genuine way. We're not just saying that just for our good health. We really mean that. We are really praying that the Most High is with you to overcome that situation that you are in. That's what Saul said to David, right? Now give me verse 38. Now Saul told David, he said, go then, and let the Lord be with you. After David told Saul them stories about how he killed his lion and his bear, and he said that Philistine man Goliath is going to be just like them, that's light work. Saul said, all right, go and may the Lord be with you. Now, what did it say in 38? Because it's getting down to it.
Verse 38, and Saul armed David with his armor, and he put an helmet of brass upon his head.
Right.
Also, he armed him with a coat of mail.
Keep going.
Verse 39, and David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off of him.
So he took them off. David took whatever he took what Saul had given him to put on as a part of armor, and he took them off. What you got something to say?
When David said that he cannot go with these because for I have not proved them, does that mean that he did not know how to fight wearing that armor?
Meaning, like, in a sense, kind of in a sense, like he not really used to that. You know what I'm saying? David, like he said in the other scripture, when he said that the Philistine man was paraphrasing, but he came up knowing how to fight. You know what I'm saying? David was young, but he was like out there tending to his father's sheep. He wasn't never really in the army because he was young. His older brothers were. His 3 other brothers were in the army because they were older than him. He was left to tend to the sheep. Now, that didn't mean that David didn't know how to defend himself. Of course, he killed lions and bears, but it could have been a little bit of a different magnitude when he has armor on him. He's not used to it. So that's why he took it off. Like, he's not used to it. So in a sense, yeah, to answer your question, it's like he's not used to it. That's why he took it off.
I don't walk on the water.
No sweat. You can where was we at?
Verse 40.
Yeah. Go to verse 40.
And he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook and put them in a shepherd's bag, which he had, even in a script. It's like in a script. And his sling was in his hand. And he drew near to the Philistine. Verse 41.
Go to verse 43.
Verse 43. And the Philistine said unto David, am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves? And this Philistine cursed David by his gods.
Right, 44. And staves are like pieces of wood, right? like pieces of wood, like little pieces of wood, right? He said, "Am I a dog?" Like that's why he asked him, "Are you a dog?" Like you bringing me sticks. That's what you do to dogs. You give him a stick to go fetch. So then he asked David when he came up to him. He said, "You come at me with staves? Am I a dog? You think I'm a dog? I'm supposed to go fetch?" He making fun of him. He asked him a question like, "You think it's a?" He think it's a joke? No, it's for real. Keep going.
Got on one con. Verse 44. And the Philistine said to David, "Come to me, Saki." And the Philistine said to David, "Come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field."
Stop right there. Right now, this is Goliath speaking to David. He said, "If you come to me, if you really step to me," he's saying, "I will give your flesh into the fowls of the air and the beasts of the field." What is the fowls of the air? Fowls meaning like birds. What particular birds? He's not talking about no hummingbird. He's talking about the buzzards and the vultures, the ones that eat dead things. And then when he said the beasts of the field, he's talking about the hyenas. The hyenas gonna come eat the scraps of your body, and lions and pigs, the beasts of the field. He's saying he gonna kill you, and he gonna let the buzzards and the god doggone vultures eat you, the hyenas, the maggots, the anything that eat dead stuff, that he gonna come and let it eat you. He basically saying he gonna kill you. You have something to say?
No, I thought I was going to answer your question, but you already answered it like you.
Now you good. Keep you keep going. Yeah, you keep going. 45.
Verse 45. Then said David to the Philistine, "Thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied."
Read it again from the top. Salaki. Read it again.
Verse 45. Then said David to the Philistine,
Right.
"Thou comest to me with a sword,
Right,
and with a spear."
All right, pause right there. Salaki. David is talking to the Philistine Goliath, right? Like it's crazy. They ain't even calling him by his name. They just saying Philistine. Like that's some stuff that like black people do. Like you might know this Asian man name, but you'll say, "Yeah, I'm talking to this Asian boy, this Asian dude." And you ain't gonna call him by his name. I'm talking to this white dude. That's what David is doing to this Philistine man, this heathen. He not even acknowledging to give him the glory, never call him by his name. He said, "This Philistine, you a heathen. I don't call you by your name, but I call my brethren by my name, by their name. I address them by their name. I'll say Yaganan and Elijah by their name and Tamakia. But it's anybody else, it's like, all right, I might make up a name for you. All right, Timmy. All right, go up the road. Go drink a Jägermeister. Go get drunk. Go ahead. This ain't for you." All right, white man. That's what David is. That's what David is talking when he is addressing this Philistine man. That's how he knows a black and brown book once again. But if you got a veil over your eyes, you simply can't see that. You might need to read some more, be in class a little bit longer. But keep reading.
Verse 45. Thou comest to me with a sword.
He said, "You come to me with a sword." Keep going.
"And with a spear."
Right.
"And with a shield. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of the Slacky. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts."
Pause right there. And he talking to Goliath. He said, "And you come to me with a spear." Right? He said, "You come to me with you come to me with a sword and a spear and a shield. You come to me geared up." Like, man, you geared up. You carnal. You come to me with all this to try to defeat me. You a 9-foot man. What you need a sword and a spear, all this to come defeat me? I came at you. You their best guy. I'm their best guy. I'm coming at you. Drop the weapons and let's go. You don't need all that, but he carnal. Why? Because he's a heathen. And they think that their weapons are carnal because they don't serve the Most High God. And we understand it's spiritual. That's why keep reading. We're going to see what David said.
But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel.
The God of who? The God of who?
Of the armies of Israel. Whom thou hast defied.
Stop right there. What? He's saying, hey, man, this is spiritual. You coming with all this armor and this swords and these spears and this shield. I don't come with none of that. I ain't even got no armor on. I took my armor off. Why? Because I trust in the Most High God, because he's got me through everything. Because we are God's chosen people. And how are we going to be God's chosen people if we don't use the correct power that we get to inherit, the correct form of weapons that we can actually use to defeat our enemies? And that's the Most High God. And David said, look, man, you came with all this stuff geared up. You geared up. I'm a little kid, and you come all geared up. You're supposed to be this big bad guy. You should be able to take the armor off, and if you really like that, just do it like that. But you're not, because you're carnal, because you are a heathen. And you don't serve a true God. You are not God's chosen people. You don't have the Most High God on your side. And that's why you trust in weapons. And that's why David said that his weapons are not carnal, because this is a spiritual war. And that's why he said, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of the hosts. He come to you in the name of Yahweh of armies, right? The God of armies of Israel. You know, remind you, I just told you in the beginning that the Israelites, the nation of Israel is a nation of war, right? We are warriors. It's no coincidence why we say all this in the UPK. It's no coincidence why we have this type of terminology and this slang and how we speak to each other and address each other. Because we are warriors. We are warlords. That's what we are. The nation of Israel is full of warriors. This Bible is talking about war. And every day you wake up as a black and brown man, it is warfare. It's not carnal. It's spiritual. But it might be a day, in the day of the Lord, you know, brothers get spiritual powers, Lord willing. You know, brothers be up on chairs and you know, the angels come down and Christ come back with 200 million angels. And in that day, it's going to be like, you know, some Naruto and all type of mythical, crazy stuff. Mortal Kombat. Niggas going to have powers. Then in that day, you know, you might want to be carnal and punch a nigga up or something. You might want to hit him with a little left, right. Stomp him out a little bit. You might ain't going to have to do that because you got the power of the Most High God on your side. You ain't going to have to do that. You just doing that just for fun, just extra fun. Because you just want to use your hands. But at that point, you ain't got to do it because you got the Most High God on you. He bless you with powers. And that's what you get for serving the Most High God. Right? Whom thou hast defied, right? So the reason why David is stepping to him, because he overheard him earlier from a ways away talking about the Most High God and talking about the nation of Israel, the Israelites, talking bad about their God. And cursing our God with his gods, his fake gods, talking all outside of his neck. Y'all ain't on nothing. Y'all ain't gonna do nothing. Y'all God ain't real. The hell with Israel. Y'all don't serve no real God. He talking outside of his neck. He going crazy. And ain't nobody saying nothing to him because he's a 9-foot man. He got all this armor on and his spear. Ain't nobody trying to get hit with that. They trying to go home to their wife and their kids. They ain't really about to die for the Most High. They ain't really about to die and defending his name. So they shut up. And when they person, they fled. Go ahead, you got something to say?
Yeah, Bible Shop, I could, man. This is a heavy topic, heavy lesson, man.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord God of Israel is a man of war. This is how long we've been at it with the Hamites.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It started with Moses, and now it's all the way with David, a Philistine. Man, listen, we are not Africans, right? And God doesn't love everybody. Like I could even pull a scripture if I could.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm about to bounce. Let me get Judges chapter 21, verse 10 right quick.
You said 21 and 10? This is the book of Judges, chapter 21 and verse 10. Mm-hmm. And the congregation sent thither 12,000 men of the valiantest, and commanded them, saying, Go and smite the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead. Go and smite the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead. Verse 12. And they found among the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead
Nah,
Go on,
you already did verse 11.
you didn't say, did you say go to verse 12?
Nah, go to verse 11.
Kind of walk on. Verse 11. And this is the thing that ye shall do. Ye shall utterly destroy every male and every woman that hath lain by man.
Man,
Verse
this is what the Israelites do, man. When it's time to gird up your loins, it's time. And right now, high time is near, man. We gotta girdle back our minds, right? From being whitewashed, brainwashed, pan Africanized, Buddhism, Hinduism, Muslim, right? Judaism. And we have to realize that we are the Israelites. And our ancestors have fought second by second, minute by minute, year after year for our generations to keep our culture. That's why this Holy Bible is so holy. It's like,
Right. Nah.
kind of
Damn
walk
right,
on.
man. Damn right, man. Get out of that hand. My real talk is what he's saying is absolutely right. That's what we gotta understand, man. We follow the Most High God. He's the power that's gonna set us free. Just like he mentioned, with Moses, we've been at it with these Egyptians, these Africans, and what happened? What happened? We got away from the Egyptians because the Lord got us up out of there. You got something to say?
Kind of walk on. Just to piggyback of what Officer Tamaki was saying, we've been going at it with the Hamites even before, you know what I'm saying, we have with the Philistine and David. You know what I'm saying? When we go back, if you go backwards, back to Genesis 34, with Shechem and the brothers with Dinah. You know what I'm saying? Those were Hamites. And we saw what we did to them.
Nah, good night. You're right. Like you gotta understand. I'll bring up that reference as well as Moses, right? Because what I say in the days of Moses, they wasn't trying to give us up. Moses had to go up there and say, "Let my people go," and they really weren't trying to let us go. I mean, that's why we have the whole Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, that plague that hit them for having us in captivity and doing God's chosen people wrong. The Lord got us up out of their hand. He freed us from the Egyptians. So this is what David is saying. Hey, the Lord is going to free me how he did. He freed me from this lion. He freed me from this bear. And he's going to free me out of the hand of this Philistine. Just like the Lord freed us out of the hands of the Egyptians in the days of Moses in the land of Egypt. And the Lord is definitely going to free David and the rest of the Israelite army about
like if I may,
it. Go ahead.
my nigga. Hey, we could even go further back in history, right? Joseph the Dreamer.
Kind of walk on.
Yeah, man. But shit, I just want to let y'all know, man, I love y'all. I'm going to get on up out of here and help, you know what I'm saying, the priesthood over here.
All right.
Shalom, y'all.
All right, and give me verse 46.
Kind of walk on. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 17, verse 46.
Right.
This day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee, and take thine head from thee. And I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel.
All right, read it from the top again, so I'm gonna break it down.
Kind of one kind. Verse 46. This day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand.
Pause right there.
And I will.
This day will the Lord deliver thee into my hand. This is David talking to Goliath. And he said, this day, when I'm drawing near you and I'm in your grill, this is the day that the Lord will give you into my hand. That's what he's saying. Keep reading.
Kind of one kind. Verse 46. And I will smite thee and take thine head from thee.
Pause right there. I will smite thee and I will take thine head from thee. David is saying he is going to make Goliath unalive. He's going to hang some pain on him. Oh, he's going to do him bad. Because for one, you was already speaking on the Most High name and speaking on our God and cursing our God with your God. And then talking about we ain't own nothing. And we ain't got no true living God that we serve. And he said, I'm going to take your head, your noggin, that big 9-foot head you got, and he's going to dismember it. That's what he's going to do in the name of the Most High. For you coming up against God's chosen people. That's what David told Goliath. Because earlier Goliath told him, he said, bro, I'm finna have the vultures and buzzards eating you and hyenas and maggots eating you, bro. I'm gonna hurt you. He was gonna make him unalive. He's gonna have him deceased. That's what he said he's gonna do to David. And David said, well, this day, the Lord gonna put you in mine hands because you don't serve a true God. You don't. You think you do. You think you got power on your side, but you don't. You just big. You bully everybody, and nobody has stepped to you because you've been going against every other nation, and they don't have no God, or nobody had enough cojones, or nobody girded their loins up to say, "Hey, I do serve a true living God." And I'm saying that in the instance of talking about the Israelites, this Israelite army, the nation of Israel, right? And I will give thee the carcass of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air. Now David said he giving it back to him. He's like, hey, you said talking that stuff to me earlier. When I behead you, I'm gonna give your head to the buzzards and the vultures. You ain't gonna be doing that to me. He looking at Goliath like, I don't know who you was talking to earlier, but you sure wasn't talking to me. He said, I'm gonna give your head to the buzzards and the vultures. Imagine this little kid talking to this 9-foot man. If you was to see this out in public, you'd be amazed. Like what this? As a matter of fact, stuff like this happens at camp. Now, of course, we might not say such gruesome things like this, and I'm only saying that because the world is such a sensitive place now that it's some certain things you can say, and the world want to be so sensitive. But they got all this. They got all these X-rated videos. They got people getting murdered on Instagram, unalive on Instagram, Salakia, and all this other stuff, and people selling drugs and all this other stuff. But we can't say the stuff that's in the Bible. But it's like at camp, you might have a huge heathen walk up to you. He talking that noise, and he got the gun on him. He gonna whoop us, this and that. And I mean, I'm not the biggest dude. But I'm something like David. I don't know who you talking to, or who heads you gonna kick up off over here, or who behind you gonna whoop. But we're gonna take your head and it's gonna be laying next to your feet because we serve the Most High God. You don't. We got the power to do that, thus saith the Lord. So I don't know what type of stuff you coming over here talking out the side of your neck like you gonna do something to any of my brothers at camp. We're gonna hang some pain on you. So you best to get on and keep on walking. That's what he's telling. That's what David is telling Goliath. Like, I don't know who you talking to. Do he know who you talking to? I don't know who you talking to. He ain't talking to me. That's what David's saying. Right? So read from, and I will give the carcasses of the host.
Verse 46. And I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel.
Pause right there, right? And this is David going into more depth, telling Goliath, after I take you, I'm going to take the rest of your men in your army, and we're going to give their bodies up to the god doggone buzzards and the vultures, and to the beasts of the field. I don't know who you thought you was talking to earlier, but you wasn't talking to me. You talking outside of your neck, Goliath. Coming over here thinking because you some 9-foot man. I'll be danged if I get afraid of some uncircumcised Hamite man that's 9 foot coming over here talking about my God. And David stepped to him and let him know that if you do something, I'm gonna take you and your army and let the buzzards have a feast on y'all. And the entire earth gonna know that the Most High God was with the nation of Israel. And if that don't explain it, every day we go out to camp, every Friday and or Saturday, or we having boots on the ground, or we having classes, we tell you, hey, the Most High God is only dealing with the nation of Israel. Did it not say here in the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 17? I got to get more specific to let you know. How many times is Israel mentioned? A lot of times in this Bible. I could pull the scriptures to let you know that the Most High is only dealing with Israel. If the Most High only dealing with Israel, Christ only came back to save Israel. I mean, who else he coming to get? Who else the Most High dealing with? So you need to tell me in the book of 1 Samuel, the Most High dealing with Israel. He was on Israel's side. He was on David's side. He was on the nation of Israel's side. And to help them overcome the Philistines. And then when Christ come back, he loved everybody. When did it change? Last time I checked, the Lord don't change. Last time I checked, the Lord said, do not marry their daughters. And what did they do in the days of Noah? They had interracial marriage. The Lord didn't change his mind. As it is written, it's in the book. And what happened? The people that was having interracial marriage was the entire earth besides Noah's family. They died. The Lord says, no homosexuality, no lesbianism, none of this homosexual stuff. What happened in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah? The Lord killed them. To this day, what happens to people that practice in homosexuality and lesbianism? Go ahead and say what you got to say.
This is a little bit off topic, but I just wanted to ask you out of curiosity, if the sons of Noah, if they weren't going out marrying heathen women, who did they marry?
Let me see. Because I know Noah, he had Ham, Japheth, and it was what's the other nation? Shem, right? Which is where we come from, right? Now, of course, okay, you got to look at it like this, because what's that brother name in the Bible? It's a brother name in the Bible. Am I gonna say Abraham? Am I gonna say Abraham? Because I think Abraham had a son. His name was Ishmael, and Ishmael would be an Ishmaelite, which would be an Arab. So you had brothers that had like sons that came from a different nation, but the Lord was only dealing with one. You get what I'm saying?
So
like all them other nations gonna come about, but the Lord is only dealing with one specific nation, because them nations had to come from a father to even multiply and to come down like that. You get what I'm saying? Understand it now? Now at that time, it was if there was an instance that happened, it would be lawful to the Most High God if nothing happened to him. But if something did happen to him, then you know that it wasn't lawful. But if that was the time and they had to reproduce and to produce a nation or produce population across the earth to repopulate it, then it was to wild with the Most High. But as you can see before then, it wasn't. Do what I'm saying? But I'm not saying that, because it was times that brothers did mess up and did do certain things. And of course, there was consequences for it. Now, I'm not sitting here saying to go out and go and get a heathen woman to go and do that. But at the times, if there was times they had to do certain things to do stuff, hey, and whatever judgment came upon them, that was them dealing with the Most High. But I'm not sitting here saying, hey, go out and go get a Arab woman to go and make the nation stronger or have more kids. I would advise you not to do that. I mean, obviously, we can't. The only reason why we here is because Jacob had 4 wives. If he wasn't hit for his 4 wives, we wouldn't have the 12 nations, the 12 tribes of Israel, right? But obviously, the 12 tribes of Israel are lawful people. Like, they're of our people. They're of our brethren, of our kindreds. But as far as other brothers that may have messed up in them times, they had a judgment with the Lord. So I'm not sitting here saying to go and do that. You get what I'm saying?
All
right. So yeah, David went up against Goliath, right? And just like I was saying in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, just like in today, and they'll go back into that same point that you were saying, right? The Most High law never changes. If he says don't lie with a man as you do it with a woman, you don't do it. I mean, in Sodom and Gomorrah was before. Okay, I'll say this: in this flesh, I've never seen Sodom and Gomorrah in this flesh because I'm born in this generation, the 21st century. Now, back then, I could have very well. I don't want to get too deep into that because it's a deeper thing to go into that about the whole regeneration process, right? But in this flesh, I've never seen the Sodom and Gomorrah they was talking about. But I have seen Sodom and Gomorrah now, which is 2.0. Just as it was back then, it's now. Just like it's nothing new underneath the sun. So with that being said, back then the Most High said to not sleep with another man. They still doing it to this day. But since they're not dying at a fast rate, they think it's okay. They think it's okay because a Christian pastor says it's okay because he's low-key a homosexual. They say you can smoke drugs and do this and do all these things that's against God. You can eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster because why? They're carnal. And they don't have the spirit of Christ to be able to fight that spiritual warfare, to fight off them demons that tell them to commit sin. Go ahead.
Can I bring out a precept for that?
What you got?
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8, verse 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
Right.
Verse 12. Though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear God, which fear before him.
What is that scripture? Matter of fact, I got it. All right. So what you just said, right? What you just said was talking about that if the punishment don't be just happen right then and there, then in their mind, oh well, I'm good. That's a Christian mindset. But they eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. They smoke all the Newports. They smoke all the weed. They have sex with all the whores. These men are homosexual. The women are lesbians. And they're not having that judgment to them right then and there. But that's how you know that this is a black man's book, because the Most High is our Father. And if it's not done expediently, meaning at a very fast pace, he's going to let it build up. He's going to get you when you least expect it. Because in your heart, y'all saying, well, nothing happened to me. I can smoke a little bit more weed. And then by the time you're 30, you thought you was going to smoke some more weed, and now you're sitting in the hospital chair, and you got a hole in your neck. And now you got to use that little walkie-talkie thing, and you're talking all weird like a robot. Oh, well, I can eat pork all my days, and now you're 40, and now you got grandkids, but you ain't going to be able to see your grandkids because now you're in the hospital because you got high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and you got cancer. And you got parasites running all through your body because all your days you was in church, you ate pork, you ate shrimp, you ate crab, and you ate lobster. And that's how you know that the Most High, and that's how you know that the Bible was talking about black and brown men, because your parents do the same thing. Your mama will say this to you, and this used to strike fear in a young black boy's heart, young Hispanic boy's heart, young Native Indian boy's heart, and the women. Hey, I heard you've been acting up at school. When you get home, I'm going to tear your butt up. And now the entire time you at school, you thinking like, man, I'm finna get whooped. And you might not even go to Boys and Girls Club. You might go straight home. And you think about it all day and all day. And you thinking she finna whoop you that day. But she doesn't. And she let 2 weeks go by. And it be your birthday. And at your birthday, you think everything good. She coming up with a belt and lights you on fire like you had fire ants in your pants and lights you up. That's the way the Most High deals with us. It might not happen at that very second, that very moment, but it will happen eventually. It will happen eventually. If I could, let me get what I want. Let me get Matthew 10:34. Because not also was David a man of war, and the men of war were in the Bible. We also know that Christ was a man of war. Give me Matthew 10:34.
Come out of one kind. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. Mm-hmm. I came not to send peace, but a sword.
But a sword. Now I'm going to break this down. Now, in the days Christ was walking this earth, people don't understand his message. Christ's message was to bring back the nations. Bring back the two sticks. That was his message. He was trying to bring back blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. because I don't know if you know, but it was a time that we were going against each other, right? And Christ was there to be the mediator to try to bring us back to be on one accord, one body, one West, right? That's what we are doing. That's how we know we have the Spirit of Christ, that we are actually following Christ, because that's what Christ taught. And he was trying to bring it back. Now, that Christ that you saw might have not been the Christ that was fighting with hands and fighting with swords. That was a Christ that was fighting with the spirit of the Bible. And that was a spiritual warfare. Now, when he comes back, this time, it ain't going to be no, he talking to you. It ain't going to be nothing you can negotiate and plead with him. No, he coming back to seek utter destruction, because Christ is about his Father's business. And Christ is about warfare. This Christ that you about to see in this second coming, this second return, is about warfare. You got something to say?
Kind of on when you said the two the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom, when they were going against each other, do you mean as in actually fighting, or you mean there was a lot of animosity toward each other?
Well, they had animosity, but it was like actually fighting.
Okay.
Actually, like they actually had like beef with each other, right? It's the same thing. That same thing that happened back then is the reason why when Christ came, he came to be the mediator to stop that. It's the same thing now here today in America. The ISUPK teaches the spirit of Christ because we are the mediator between Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to bring them together. We're trying to do the same message that Christ had pushed when he was walking. We're using the ISUPK that the Lord has given us to push that same message that Christ was teaching. Now it's starting to correlate. You get it now? You understanding it now, right? That the ISUPK under commanding General Yohana is the mediator to the earth to stop Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians from fighting one another as they were doing back then when Christ was walking. Stop going against each other, because that's what the oppressors have done and made us do. They made us go against each other and to fight with one another and to say, hey, I don't like you, Black man. I hate Mexicans. I hate Native Indians. The hell with them. And that's what they made us do. But just like Christ was the mediator, the ISUPK, the commanding General Yohana, is the mediator between Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to allow the two sticks to join together. And as you can see, the two sticks are joining together. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are dwelling once again with one another, and there's no animosity. There's no fighting, and there's no killing. There's no raping, robbing, or murdering. It's none of that. As you can see at the Passover, you've seen all of us shoulder to shoulder, because we girded up our loins and understood that we should not fight each other. And that this war that we're going to fight, we have to fight together, and it is not carnal. It is a spiritual war. That's what you see at the Passover. That's what you see at the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You see Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian men, women, and children coming together to fight a spiritual war against the people that have oppressed our ancestors for 400 plus years. And that's what you got to get your mind ready for. Because I don't know if you know this, but we're on the brink of World War III. And I don't know if you've been watching the news, but everybody is coming up against America. And they always say, well, Black people need to go back to Africa. We can't go to Africa because we aren't African. We aren't welcome there. The Africans sold us to the white man in the captivity. They're oppressor as well. We got nowhere to go. So where are we going to go? Nowhere. So where will we stay? Here in America. But guess what's coming to America? War. And guess who will not be prepared? The Christian church, the Muslim mosque, the Buddhists, the Rastafarians, the Judaism, the Jehovah's Witnesses. They won't be prepared because they're not men of war. They're not men of war for the nation of Israel. They're fighting for the oppressors. That's what they're doing. And they don't simply have a warlike spirit in them because they've been beaten down so much in these religions, and they allow it to keep beating them up. And they don't have enough strength and enough courage and enough faith to overcome them because they don't have brothers that's strong enough to back them. And the only strong brothers that back them is here in the ISUPK. They don't have that. In the Christian church, you won't find that. But you'll find it here in the ISUPK, where you find men of war. That's why it's a slogan in Hebrew Academy. We want no cowards in our camp. Only men prepared to die, because we are men of war. And this right here is the nation of Israel, and this is the Lord's army. It's about time that we start fighting for our own army. Stop fighting in the U.S. Army and making them stronger and bigger. And they using us as pawns. The most people that die in the goddamn military is black and brown people. We the first ones to sign up to go get that check. We try to do our 3 years, 5 years, 10, 15 years, and you get all that money so you can get you a nice little house when you retire, get that retirement check, you'll never have to work again. You got to do that for 30 freaking years, 20 years, 15, 10 years, just to even get to that point. And you should be getting more because you're really on the front lines. The goddamn white and Asian people behind you scared half to death. Why? Because we are warriors. That's why we go and join their military, because we want to fight for something. But you got to understand, the thing that you're fighting for is not of God. The thing that you're fighting for, you're going to be fighting against God. Give me Acts 4:26. I'm gonna show you what fighting in the white man's military gets you. You're going to be a soldier, but you're going to be a soldier for the wrong cause. Yeah, you might be a man of war, but a man of war for the wrong cause, the wrong army. That's what you're gonna be. Read it when you got it.
Canada one con. This is the book of Acts, chapter 4, and verse 26.
Mm-hmm.
The kings of the earth stood up,
Right,
and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord
mm-hmm.
and against his Christ.
Right. And the kings of the earth stood up, meaning what? Vladimir Putin, got doggone Joe Biden, got doggone the Ukraine president. You know, they got Thailand, China, Kim Jong-un in North Korea. They all gonna stand up against the Lord. They all gonna stand up against Christ, because that's going to happen in the midst of World War III. When Christ returns, it's going to show you that he's a man of war. That's why they got the Space Force. Why do you think America made the Space Force? To stop the UFOs. Why to stop the UFOs? Because they think that there's aliens in them. But we know in the scriptures that it depicts these UFOs, the chariots of the Lord. And the chariots of the Lord are filled with what? Men of war. And you can't blow up a chariot. You can't shoot it down. No, you can do. Because you cannot fight with God. It don't matter how long you got all these weapons, all this mass artillery is not going to do anything against the Most High God. And the same thing, that's why they got these nuke bombs coming over, and they test fire missiles, because they're going to use them to not only destroy America, the biggest bully that's been on the earth for centuries, but they're going to also use that to fight against the Most High's chariots and to fight against Christ. And Christ is going to show you, just like in Matthew 10:34, that when he comes back, it's not going to be hugs and kisses, because Christ is a man of war. And we have the spirit of Christ on us, and we have the spirit of the Lord on us. These men that you see in the ISUPK are not Christians. We are men of war. We are men of honor and men of valor that fight for the actual right cause. And you're going to see when Christ come back, you're going to see he's a man of war, and you're going to see when them chariots land, you're going to see it's going to be men that come out of there. And them men not going to be coming to give you hugs and kisses, Karen. They're not going to be coming to give you hugs and kisses, Kim Jong-un. They're going to come and unalive you, because they're going to show you what the spirit of the Most High is. It's war. And we cannot be nice with these guys anymore. We've been nice to our oppressors for 400 plus years. We went out there in them fields. We went out there and we built this country. Literally blood, sweat, and tears. That's where it comes from. It comes from us. Because it was literal blood, sweat, and tears that we had to put in to build this goddamn nation. And we've been nice to them. We've been the intern. We've been the slaves. It's about time that it's a changing of the guard, and they know, hey, you've been messing with God's chosen people. So if you want a chance to at least let the Lord fight for you, and he seek vengeance in his name, you know where to come. Now, I'm not saying that, hey, maybe you don't think that we're the truth. Maybe you want to search somewhere else. But last time I checked, the ISUPK Commander General Yohana, every time we speak out something out of the Bible, it comes to pass. Every time we say something in the Bible that's depicted in this Bible is true. We got officers, we got captains, we got generals, we got troopers, we got young men. That's in the Bible. We tell you the depiction of Christ and what color he is. We're telling you that the Lord is a man of war. We're telling you that Christ is a man of war. I'm telling you that David is a man of war. Now, look, you can go search everywhere else you want. But last time I checked, I mean, we speak just straight out the Bible and what God says, and God is undefeated. So if you want to find a home that's the truth, hey, I'm not trying to advertise them, but I am trying to advertise something. ISUPK, the Commanding General Yohana, might be your best bet. But you can go in and you can go in and go try other places. But we all know where you're going to come at when it's time. When in World War III hit, we already know where you coming. We already know. You coming back to be with your brothers. That's where you coming. To fight alongside your brothers. I think that was all I had. Right now, I think I can think of is what I had. I think I had one more scripture. Let me see. Oh, I do. I think it's in Revelation. Let me see. Revelation 18. Yeah. So let me get Revelations 18:4 and read to verse 6.
Kind of one. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people,
Right.
that ye be not partakers of her sins, that ye receive not of her plagues.
Stop right there. Come out of her, my people, right? This is the Lord speaking to us, man. Meaning what? Come out of America. When it says her, it's talking about America. The great whore. Babylon the Great. And it's saying come out of her, meaning come out of her ways. Because that right there is a part of the spiritual warfare, not a carnal one. That's why when you're a young man or you're a trooper and you're doing your 90 days and you're shedding yourself, you're coming out of her. You're coming out of the world because you're coming away from the sins that the world has put on you for so long. And this is a spiritual war. Right now, this is a spiritual war. It's not carnal yet. I'm not a physical one. It's a spiritual one, right? That ye be not partakers of her sins. The Lord is saying, come out of this world to not be partakers of her sins. Spiritually, bring your spirit out of America. The Lord is basically giving you a warning. He's like, man, come out. Because last time I checked, the people that didn't come out, I had to kill them. And the people that the Most High killed were, in fact, some of his people. God's chosen people was in the midst of that. With the interracial marriage. With Sodom and Gomorrah. And with anything else. You serve pagan gods and pagan holidays. And you might be God's chosen people. Yeah, but he's going to have to take you out because you were following the sins of America. And you're not following the law, statutes, and commandments. And he says, come out so you don't be partakers of eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. And celebrating Halloween and Christmas and in your birthday. And celebrating moon gods and Zeus and Pegasus. And celebrating Greek gods and Roman Catholicism. And being a Rastafarian. He says, come out of her. Because if you do, stay following America, stay following her, she gonna lead you into a death trap. And I'm gonna have to take you out. That's the Most High saying, right? And that ye receive not of her plagues. Right? Just like in the days of Egypt, we was in Egypt in that captivity, and we had the Passover, right? And you had the lamb's blood, and we was in there, right? And that plague came over and killed the firstborn of everything in the land of Egypt. Killed the firstborn cattle, firstborn son, firstborn got doggone ladybug, anything, firstborn gone. That was a plague that hit that place. The only reason why the Israelites didn't get hit with that plague because they were following the Most High. They did what he said, right? And that death angel came and passed over and didn't touch them. But let me tell you this, that when Christ come back, and he come back with them angels, and them death angels is there, whatever they're going to call them, they're not going to pass over you. They're going to pass right through you. They're going to be right up on top. They're going to be on you like white on rice if you don't come up out of her. Give me verse 5.
Verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities.
Stop right there. For her sins have reached unto heaven. This is saying that, dude, like this metaphorically speaking to God saying, like, dude, you've done so much sin here in America. America has had so much sin that they sin is reached up to heaven. Like it's way up there. And God have remembered her iniquities, meaning what? Her transgressions, her sins. The Lord has remembered the sins that America has done against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And they're going to get judged, right? Give me verse 6.
Verse 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. And the cup which he hath filled, fill to her double.
Right. So what they have done to us, that's going to be done back unto them double. Now, right now, you got to understand this. In order to even get to that point, you got to understand is the spiritual warfare. You gotta take your mind away from America. You gotta take your mind away from the world and dwell in the world of Israel, the nation of Israel. Soak up the nation of Israel. That's what you got to do, because the Lord is coming to seek vengeance on this place, because this place right here has done tremendous and horrifying things to God's chosen people. And once you begin to separate your mind and separate your mind, soul, and body away from that, it will become like the Matrix. And you've escaped the Matrix. Like you're physically here on this earth, but you just don't do the things of this world. You do the things of the nation of Israel. You go to the Passover. You celebrate the Feast of First Fruits. You celebrate the Feast of Purim, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. That's how you got to train your mind, right? Because they getting double what they did to us. Captivity coming to them. They was making us unalive and hurting our children. That's gonna happen to them. Thus saith the Lord. And Christ's gonna come back and do that for us. Give me verse 8, and then I'm gonna just go down to give me 8 and then read 10, and then I'll be done.
Verse 8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judges her.
Right. Now, remember when I had you read Acts 4:26, and it said that they was going to come up against the Most High in Christ, right? And they going to come up against with their missiles and their artillery, their tracer bullets, right? And this is the Lord saying, hey, all this stuff going to come in one day. And they is going to try to fight against Christ. But they not going to realize that Christ is not no punk. That he going to come and fight for my name, and he going to come back and destroy y'all, because Christ is a man of war. They ain't seen that Christ yet, but he coming back soon. I don't know when, but they say like a thief in the night. You don't know when a thief in the night come. A thief in the night come and rob your house. You don't know when he coming. You don't know if he coming at the day, 1 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 12 at night. You don't know when, but he coming. And you're going to be caught off guard. Now give me verse 10.
Verse 10. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come.
Right, standing afar, looking at it like, alas, like about time. After all this time, Babylon the Great, aka America, in 1 hour it will be destroyed. And you know who's going to destroy that? Men of war. The men in the ISUPK, Lord willing, going to be right beside Christ and the 200 million angels. They're going to wreak utter havoc across America, across China, across the Netherlands, and across every other place that they got these bunkers and these bulletproof and these nuke-proof bomb shelters. And we're going to go and get them in the name of the Lord, because the Bible is about men of war. It's not about punks. It's not about sissies. It's not about effeminate men or unlawful men or men that's committing unrighteous acts. It's about righteous men that keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, and they have a spirit of Christ, which is the spirit of war. I mean, the spirit of the Lord, which is the spirit of war. That you got to understand. And with that, if you got security announcements, we're going to get security announcements. If anybody got them.
ISUPK security announcements. Well, the ISUPK started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for a new brother and sister. When a new brother and sister come into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to the brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21. Book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations, Adawan.
All right. The upcoming holy convocations that we got coming up next is the Feast of First Fruits. Starts after the Sabbath, unleavened bread, sundown, Sunday, April 9th, which means that we're already in it because I believe it is like the 12th. Count 50 days. Celebrate the 50th day, which will be on Monday, May 29th. And starts before sundown, right? And this can be found in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 10 through 22.
Come. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. That's all the announcements.
All right. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, Imagine. Scoot this off. All right. Imagine Shabbat. Imagine. Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah.
All right, Most High in Christ. Now, Yadi Matah. We're going to turn this song. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Well, ain't none of here with me, so I'm going to just face right here, though. But men of Israel, Imagine Shabbat. Imagine. Barak. Yahweh Shema Latah Ba'Hashem Yahushua.
Yahweh Shema Latah Ba'Hashem Yahushua.
All right, Most High in Christ.